Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. At least 8 killed as Israel strikes Lebanon in response to rocket fire. Hezbollah says no link to rocket launches. Turkey witnesses worst unrest in over a decade. Protesters gathered on streets to condemn arrest of Istanbul Mayor Ekrem Imamoglu. And India's GDP doubled in a decade, set to surpass Japan and Germany soon. Tensions flared on the Israel-Lebanon border as Israeli airstrikes hit southern Lebanon on Saturday, killing at least 8 people. The strikes came after Israel intercepted rockets fired from across the border, raising fears of renewed conflict despite a fragile ceasefire. Here's more.
Israeli forces launched air and artillery strikes on southern Lebanon, responding to a cross-border rocket attack on Saturday. Hezbollah, however, denied responsibility for the attack. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Defense Minister Israel Katz ordered a second wave of strikes targeting Hezbollah positions. The Israeli Defense Ministry described it as the biggest escalation since the November 27 ceasefire. According to Israel's military, 6 rockets were fired into northern Israel, 3 of which were intercepted. Air raid sirens were triggered, but Hezbollah dismissed Israel's accusation as a pretext for further aggression. The Lebanese Prime Minister warned that the latest military action could push the region into another war, heightening concerns of a broader conflict. The United Nations peacekeeping force in Lebanon expressed alarm over the rising violence, while international powers urged restraint. France, which played a key role in brokering the ceasefire, condemned the rocket fire and called for de-escalation. Jordan also urged urgent international intervention to stop Israeli strikes. Under the November ceasefire deal, Hezbollah was to have no weapons in southern Lebanon. Israeli ground troops were also to withdraw and Lebanese army troops were to deploy into the area. The agreement specifies that Lebanon's government is responsible for dismantling all military infrastructure in southern Lebanon and confiscating all unauthorized arms. With tensions rapidly rising in the region, fears of another prolonged conflict are growing. Whether diplomacy can prevent a full-scale war remains uncertain. Bureau Report, DD India.
An Israeli airstrike in southern Gaza's Khan Yunis killed Hamas political leader Salah al-Bardawil. As per reports, Hamas has accused Israel of assassinating Bardawil, whom it said was praying along with his wife when an Israeli missile struck their tent shelter in Khan Yunis. Israel has been accused in a statement issued by Hamas. Explosions echoed throughout the north, central and southern Gaza Strip in the early hours on Sunday after Israel effectively abandoned a ceasefire, launching a new all-out air and ground campaign on Tuesday against Gaza's dominant Palestinian militant group, Hamas. Thousands of Israelis demonstrated in Tel Aviv on Saturday against the decision by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government to dismiss the head of the Shin Bet domestic intelligence service and resume fighting in Gaza. Netanyahu said this week he had lost confidence in Ronen Bar, who has led Shin Bet since 2021 and intended to fire him effective April 10, prompting 3 days of protests. Israel's Supreme Court issued an injunction on Friday, temporarily freezing the dismissal. Netanyahu has dismissed accusations the decision was politically motivated. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu in a video message said that Israel will remain a democratic state despite the government sacking the internal security chief.
Ronen Bar will not stay as head of Shin Bet. There will not be civil war, and Israel will remain a democratic state.
In an interview, Chief Foreign Policy Advisor to Israeli PM Ofer Falk said that Israel is applying military pressure on Hamas in an effort to bring home the remaining hostages in Gaza. Falk said he expects Lebanon to uphold its end of a shaky truce.
Hamas unfortunately understands military pressure and only military pressure. In November 2023, we got over 80 hostages out for one reason: military pressure. That's the only reason. The only reason they went back to the negotiation table was military pressure. And that's what we're doing right now, and we're going to get all of the hostages back home.
Ahead of the much anticipated talks between Russia and Ukraine with US officials in Saudi Arabia, Washington DC is optimistic of brokering a 30-day ceasefire between the two sides. Here's more.
The United States is hopeful about securing a 30-day ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine, with the country's special envoy Steve Witkoff saying that Trump administration can broker the deal. He made these remarks in a recent interview with talk show host Tucker Carlson.
So we're going to want the Russians to be satisfied in some respect. We're going to want the Ukrainians to be satisfied in some respect. We're talking to the Europeans. When I say satisfied, feeling that we came out of this thing, okay, with a deal that everybody can live with. I think that we have moved Russia in ways that no one thought was possible.
The Kremlin said this week that President Putin had agreed to a 30-day ceasefire on energy targets in a call with Trump. However, the accord fell short of the broader 30-day ceasefire sought by Washington and accepted by Ukraine. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky held a meeting with military cabinet in Kharkiv to discuss the ongoing situation at the front lines in eastern Ukraine and the Kursk region in western Russia. Ukrainian troops have been present in the Kursk region for 7 months following a cross-border incursion. On the diplomatic front, Ukrainian officials are set to meet with US officials in Saudi Arabia ahead of a separate meeting between American and Russian officials on Monday. Despite the flurry of diplomacy and push from US President Donald Trump, a breakthrough has so far proved elusive, as both sides have traded accusations in recent days of compromising peace efforts as air attacks have continued. Bureau Report, DD India.
US President Donald Trump threatened new actions against lawyers and law firms that bring immigration lawsuits and other cases against the government that he deems unethical. In a memorandum to US Attorney General Pam Bondi late on Friday, Trump said lawyers were helping to fuel rampant fraud and meritless claims in the immigration system and directed the Justice Department to seek sanctions against attorneys for professional misconduct. The order also took aim at law firms that sue the administration in what Trump, a Republican, called baseless partisan lawsuits. He asked Bondi to refer such firms to the White House to be stripped of security clearances and for federal contracts they whirled on to be terminated. While the Trump administration has been hit with more than 100 lawsuits challenging White House actions on immigration, transgender rights and other issues since the start of the president's second term. Legal advocacy groups, along with at least 12 major law firms, have brought many of the cases. Amid a diplomatic spat between the United States and Venezuela over the recent deportation flights of Venezuelan migrants to El Salvador, Venezuela has reached an agreement with the United States to resume repatriation flights of migrants. President Nicolas Maduro announced in a televised address on Saturday. Maduro said the flights would commence on Sunday. The United States said the deportees sent to El Salvador were members of Venezuela's Tren de Aragua gang, a claim that Venezuela's interior minister denied. The Trump administration now faces a March 25 deadline to respond to a judicial request for more details on the deportations to El Salvador, as Washington-based U.S. District Judge James Boasberg considers whether officials violated his order temporarily blocking the expulsions. Turkey is ablaze with protests as demonstrators take to the streets condemning the arrest of Istanbul Mayor Ekrem Imamoglu. The country's worst unrest in over a decade has spread to over 55 provinces, with clashes between riot police and protesters escalating into violence. The opposition CHP party has vowed to continue the protests, backed by pro-Kurdish DEM party, as tensions reach a boiling point. More in this report by Antara Sinha.
Turkey is witnessing its worst protests in over a decade, with aggressive demonstrations, erupting across the country in response to the arrest of Istanbul Mayor Ekrem Imamoglu. The protests, which began on Wednesday, have spread to over 55 provinces with clashes reported between riot police and protesters. Imamoglu's arrest on charges of terrorism and corruption has sparked widespread outrage, with many viewing it as a politically motivated move to prevent him from running in the 2028 presidential election. The protests have been marked by violence, with riot police using tear gas, rubber bullets, and percussion grenades to disperse the crowds. Meanwhile, Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan on Saturday said that the main opposition was engaging in street terrorism.
The Republican People's Party (CHP) attempted to provoke our nation over this corruption operation. They have been doing everything they can for 4 days to disturb the peace of the nation and polarize our people. From insulting anyone they encounter to attacking our police officers who are only doing their jobs. From intimidating our members of the judiciary who are investigating corruption reports to suppressing the national will with street terrorism, they have it all.
Baskı altına almaya kadar ne ararsan.
The demonstrations were called by the main opposition CHP, which was on Sunday to formally name Imamoglu as its candidate for the 2028 presidential race. The opposition CHP party has vowed to continue the protests. The pro-Kurdish opposition DEM, the third party in parliament, has also thrown its support behind the protests.
We are here to improve who we are, our future, our life from now on. We can neither survive as a university student nor as a laborer. We are trying to make a living with the 3 pennies we get, as if it's not enough. We are trying to support our family. Actually, we are here for democracy.
Whatever the people want should happen. I think he should go. If everyone is here, there must be a reason. For example, presidents in foreign countries resign when they face the reaction of the people. Here, they do not.
The protests are the biggest in Turkey since the massive demonstrations of 2013, which began at Istanbul's Gezi Park to protest its demolition and spread across almost the entire country. Antra Sinha for DD India.
Tens of thousands of people in Paris and other French cities rallied against racism and the rise of the far right. The rallies took place amid the rightward shift in French politics, with the government pledging to tighten immigration policies and border controls. Nearly 91,000 people took part in protests across France, said the Interior Ministry, with the Paris rally attracting 21,500. Many of those marching highlighted the growing strength of reactionary political forces in France, but also in the United States. Floods continue to wreak havoc across Madrid on Saturday after Storm Martino's heavy rains caused rivers to overflow, leaving fields submerged. The impact of the storm has been felt beyond Madrid as various regions across Spain face similar severe weather conditions. Storm Martino first hit Spain on Thursday, and authorities have warned residents to stay away from areas where levels of water are getting closer to the streets. South Korea has declared a state of disaster after multiple forest fires hit the country's south, killing at least 4 and displacing hundreds of residents from their homes. More than 300 personnel, along with 20 helicopters, have been deployed to tackle the fire, which began in Sangcheong County on Friday afternoon. Let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Omar Menchaca, a 63-year-old environmentalist, kayaks through Mexico City's Xochimilco wetlands, removing piles of plastic waste to protect the vital ecosystem. The UNESCO site faces threats from pollution, urbanization, and a controversial overpass. Known for cooling the city and preventing floods, Xochimilco is also crucial to water supply. Menchaca urges stronger action to save this ecological treasure before it's lost forever. The Absa Cape Epic, an iconic demanding mountain bike stage race in South Africa's Western Cape, saw intense competition on its penultimate stage. Nino Schurter and Filippo Colombo held their overall lead in the men's race. Similarly, Annika Langwad and Sofia Gomez maintained their women's lead. The event, known for its tough terrain, tests riders' endurance over several days. The leaders now face the final stage with the overall victory within reach. Environmentalists gathered at the Brazilian city of Manaus on World Water Day, highlighting the Amazon's urgent socio-environmental crisis, themed Our Voices at COP30 in defense of water and life in the Amazon. The event emphasized water's importance as a human right. Activists, including Father Sandoval, called for immediate action to address the region's unprecedented degradation. And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. 12th edition of the India-Kyrgyzstan Joint Special Forces exercise concludes. DD News organizes Walkathon to promote Fit India initiative and champion inclusivity. And Ramadan festivities take over Dubai.
इंडिया में जितने इंडियंस हैं उतने ही इंडियाज भी. So for the record, this is my India.
This is my अनदेखा, अनसुना,
Unbelievable India.
This is my favorite designer wear wala India.
my सखत एनर्जी हिरो इंडिया.
এই হলো আমার দুর্দান্ত রোড ট্রিপের ইন্ডিয়া.
So India, join the Waves Explorer Challenge.
Show us what makes you say, for the record.
This is my India.
You're watching DD India Live. I am Siddharth Bharadwaj. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar witnessed the handing over of Mahatma Gandhi related artifacts and documents from South Africa to National Gandhi Museum, New Delhi. India's External Affairs Minister wrote on social media platform X that Bapu's life and message continues to inspire generations to come. The National Gandhi Museum in New Delhi contains huge picture galleries depicting Gandhi's life, work and ideals in photographs, artworks, paintings and his relics. Indian Army successfully facilitated the return of the mortal remains of two youth who were reported missing earlier in March from Uri in Jammu and Kashmir. On March 20th, Indian Army spotted the body of deceased in the Jhelum River, but due to strong water currents, the body drifted across the line of control towards Chakoti sector of Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The Indian Army officials coordinated efforts to retrieve mortal remains. Following the handover, the remains were returned to their respective families for final rites. Bereaved families expressed deep gratitude to the Indian Army for their swift response and dedicated efforts in ensuring the dignified return of the mortal remains of their loved ones from Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir. The 12th edition of India-Kyrgyzstan Joint Special Forces exercise Khanjar 12 successfully concluded on March 23, 2025 in Tokmok, Kyrgyzstan. Elite forces from India's Parachute Regiment and the Kyrgyz Scorpion Brigade undertook intensive training to boost interoperability, high-altitude warfare capabilities and counter-terrorism tactics. The exercise featured advanced operations including sniping, building intervention, mountain craft and specialized counter-terrorism drills. The celebration of Nowruz added a cultural dimension, fostering camaraderie and mutual understanding. The Kyrgyz Ministry of Defense honored Indian personnel with medals and certificates for their exemplary performance. And news coming in, India has requested the extradition of fugitive businessman Mehul Chokasi from Belgium. He was accused of defrauding Punjab National Bank of rupees 13,850 crore Indian investigative agencies have been pursuing him since he fled India in January 2018 after the PNB fraud surfaced. In May 2024, Chokasi told a special Mumbai court that he was unable to return to India due to reasons beyond his control. The statement came after the Enforcement Directorate sought to declare him a fugitive economic offender and seize his properties. Chokasi was previously believed to be residing in Antigua and Barbuda. His wife Preeti is also known to be a Belgian citizen. Today, we observe Shaheed Divas, honoring the sacrifices of Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev. On March 23rd, 1931, these brave revolutionaries laid down their lives for India's freedom. Their legacy of courage and commitment continues to inspire generations. Here's a special report from Sujata Lochab. Take a look.
On 23rd March 1931, three patriots and freedom fighters, Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev, were hanged to death. They were given the death sentence in the Lahore conspiracy case. The day is now remembered as Shaheed Divas or Martyr's Day. The British Governor General promulgated an ordinance to establish a special tribunal to try the Lahore conspiracy case while denying the accused the right to appeal. The British imperialists branded them as criminals, but in the hearts of millions, they were heroes. History is testament to the fact that the three young men showed neither remorse nor fear while they were being taken to the gallows at Lahore Central Jail, but happily embraced death, shouting, "Inqilab Zindabad." Inqilab Zindabad! In fact, the song, Mera Rang De Basanti Chola, gave birth to one of the greatest freedom songs. It became Bhagat Singh's song of the gallows. He was said to have marched to the hangman's chamber with this song on his lips. Today, Indians across the country honor them with a deep sense of gratitude. Their story of courage has inspired many movies which have relived the spirit of supreme sacrifice. Bhagat Singh was just 23 years old when he was hanged. His legend continues to inspire generations of Indians even today. For him, death in the cause of freedom was like a celebration that has continued even after 94 years. Sujata Lochab for DD India.
India has doubled its gross domestic product in the last 10 years at a growth of 105% from $2.1 trillion in 2015 to $4.3 trillion in 2025. According to the data released by the International Monetary Fund, India is now the fifth largest country in terms of GDP in the world after the US, China, Germany and Japan. It added that India is set to outpace Japan soon as the latter's GDP grew nil in the past decade. In comparison, the United States and China's GDP grew by 66% and 44% respectively during the same period. On Sunday, March 23rd, DD News organized a walkathon to promote the Fit India initiative and champion inclusivity. Co-sponsored by the Fit India initiative and Inclusive Divyangjan Entrepreneur Association, the event covered a 4-kilometer route starting and ending at DD Bhavan, emphasizing accessibility for specially abled persons. Participants was recognized with awards in various categories and all finishers received tokens of appreciation. The walkathon reinforced the message that fitness is for everyone and highlighted the importance of creating inclusive spaces for all. Meanwhile, DD News Director General Priya Kumar emphasized the importance of fitness for everyone, highlighting the principle of inclusion with the active participation of Divyangs.
डीडी न्यूज़ ने एक वॉकाथॉन ऑर्गेनाइज़ किया। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री का जो फिट इंडिया का आह्वान है उसको देखते हुए हमने सबने ये डिसाइड किया कि हम भी इसका एक हिस्सा बनेंगे। हमारे 300 करीब प्रतिभागी थे और मैं सबका बहुत धन्यवाद करूंगी। सबने बहुत इससे जोर शोर से इसमें पार्टिसिपेट किया है और हम लोग आगे भी ऐसे करते रहेंगे और सबको हम यही कहना चाहेंगे, हमारा यही एक मैसेज है कि सबको अपनी फिटनेस पे ध्यान देना चाहिए और सबको इसका हिस्सा बनना चाहिए। डीडी न्यूज़ के इस वॉकाथॉन में हमने ये भी ध्यान रखा कि हम लोग एक इंक्लूसिविटी, जो इंक्लूजन वाला एक प्रिंसिपल है, उसको भी हम साथ लेके चले। हमारे साथ कम से कम 15 लोग ऐसे थे जो दिव्यांग हैं, जिन्होंने बहुत ही हिम्मत से और बहुत ही जोश से इसमें पार्टिसिपेट किया है, तो इसके लिए हम उनका भी धन्यवाद करते हैं।
Another weekend and another Fit India Sundays on Cycle event was organized under the Fit India movement at the Major Dhyan Chand National Stadium this morning. People from all corners of Delhi participated in the event to promote fitness. Paris Paralympics badminton gold medalist Nitesh Kumar and bronze medalist Manisha Ramadas were also present at the event. Many people, including doctors, nutritionists, students and social activists, participated to make the people aware of the ills of obesity.
भारी मात्रा में लोग आए हैं और they are enjoying cycling on Sunday. I'm happy to see कि people are taking the first step towards their fitness journey.
Dubai's Ramadan festivities have transformed the city into a celebration that harmoniously combines cultural heritage with contemporary flair, creating an atmosphere of unity and joy during this sacred month. Places like Zabil Park and Souk al-Bahar are featuring vibrant Ramadan decorations, attracting visitors with live shows, games and Hakawati storytelling. Over 55 restaurants offer diverse culinary experiences with live music and cultural performances. A local resident praised the holy festivities of Ramadan, sharing the experiences and emphasizing the significance of the festival.
First of all, I want just to welcome all my friends from India, and I want to give them a brief of how Ramadan is important for us as UAE locals and as Muslims. Ramadan actually is a month of peace, month of gathering, happiness, month of clean our soul, you know. We are enjoying with each other, enjoying with our family, coming like on this kind of places to enjoy and meet our friends and family.
That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.